Hey, Jeff.
Hey, how are you?
Hey.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Mike.
Evening, everybody.
All right, so we have our okay, so go ahead and call, we're early for the council meeting, but we just have a town meeting. So we'll call the town meeting to order, and then we have to elect a moderator. Nomination.
Okay, I nominate Mayor Mark Kaczynski as moderator.
Second on that? Second. Any other nominations? Nominations? Favor? Okay, so eligibility to vote, any person who is an elector of such town and any citizen of the United States of the age 18 years or more who or severally who is liable to the town for taxes assessed against him or her on an assessment of not less than $1,000 on the last completed ground list of such town. Reference to Connecticut General Statute Section 7.8 can vote, 7.6, and legal notice.
Special town meeting of electors and citizens qualified to vote in town meetings in the town of Berlin will be held at Berlin Town Hall, Council Chambers, 240 Kensington Road, Berlin, Connecticut, on Tuesday, June 15, 2021, at 6:45 p.m. for the following purposes: to approve an FY for year 22 non-budget appropriation of $2,210,640 from the general fund unassigned fund balance to the pension after account, both in the general fund. Number 2, for the purpose of voting to accept a non-budget appropriation of the State of Connecticut Youth Services Grant in the amount of $189 for deposit in the Child and Youth Services Revenue Account, and appropriate these funds to the Youth Grant Expenditure Account, subject to the approval by the Board of Finance.
Okay, thank you. So now we have a resolution for the town meeting. 1, 2.
Yeah, on both?
Yep.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I will make a motion that resolution number 1 resolved that a non-budgeted appropriation of $2,210,640 as requested by the town manager in accordance with section 7-11 of the Berlin Town Charter be appropriated from the general fund assigned fund balance to the pension actuarial account in the general fund.
Thank you. Second on that? Second. Thank you. Okay, so discussion on the resolution. Do we have any discussion? Anyone? This was explained to us at the last meeting. Hearing no discussion from anyone, I'm going to take a vote on this resolution that we just mentioned. So all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the resolution is accepted, and we'll go ahead and adjourn this town meeting at this time. Thank you. And we have about 10 minutes, a little bit less for our regular meeting. No, that's after. That's later. So,
We have one.
oh, the second. Oh, you didn't do the second one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Do one at a time.
I'm sorry. All right. I wasn't in a hurry.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, on resolution number 2, I'll make a motion resolved that a non-budgeted appropriation of the State of Connecticut Youth Services grant in the amount of $189 as requested by the town manager in accordance with the section 7-11 of the Berlin Town Charter be appropriated for a deposit in the Child and Youth Services Revenue Account. Appropriate those funds to the Youth Grant Expenditure Account, subject to approval by the Board of Finance.
Thank you. Second on that. Second. Thank you. Any discussion on this resolution? Anyone? Hearing none. Go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, resolution is passed. Now I will adjourn the meeting. And we'll take a short recess till our 7 o'clock town council meeting.
Okay.
this town council meeting to order, and if we could rise for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilor Adele Sexton? Here. Dave Kuzinski?
Here.
Councilor Letty?
Here.
Councilor Payanessa?
Here.
Councilor Russell?
Here.
Councilor Uranaga?
Here.
Councilor Beach? Here. Mayor, you have four.
Right, thank you. So now we have our, we're gonna do the, I'm just gonna do this after the, can we just do the audience of citizens first? And we'll go ahead and do our audience of citizens, and we've got a couple of proclamations. So now it's time for audience of citizens. If anyone either on Zoom or in person wants to address the council on any issue in town, now would be your time. Anything on the agenda, if you can come up to the podium, just your name and address, please, for the record.
Good evening, everyone. Susan Kwasniewski, 1111 Kensington Road. Briefly about Bicentennial Park and the upcoming leash ordinance. Dear council members, Bicentennial Park is part of a nearly 500-acre open space that has allowed dogs to be off leash as long as they're under control for over 45 years. The Town Ordinance Committee will soon be voting to change the leash ordinance townwide, which will blanket Bicentennial Park and mean that we can now be ticketed for having our dogs off leash in this park. We do not want to break the law. We only wish to be allowed to continue to use this park as we always have. We ask the Town Ordinance Committee and the Town Council to exempt Bicentennial Park from the new townwide leash ordinance that will blanket Bicentennial Park. Attached is a petition with 397 signatures from people who support this request. Please, councilors, Mr. Mayor, exempt Bicentennial Park. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next.
Hi, my name is Danielle Morrissey Corsetti, and I live at 75 Cottage Street in East Berlin, Connecticut. I just wanted to say that later on, the town manager is going to raise a request I made to hang the Progress Pride flag from the town hall flagpole for the last week of June in celebration of LGBTQ Pride Month. And I think that, like many or even most towns in our area, it's a simple and small statement of acceptance and welcome.
Thanks, Danielle.
Anyone else, audience of citizens? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and close the audience of citizens. And so I have two proclamations to read. Let me read the first one, then we'll just make a motion to add the second one. First one is regarding the 25th anniversary of the Central Connecticut Health District. This month, the Central Connecticut Health District, of which Berlin is a part, marks 25 years of service to its member towns as a regional local health department. In 1996, the towns of Rocky Hill, Weathersfield voted to form the Weathersfield Rocky Hill Health District to provide public health and environmental health services to its communities. The town of Berlin joined the health district in 1998, at which time its name was changed to the Central Connecticut Health District, and later the town of Newington joined in 2006. The Central Connecticut Health District has provided high-quality public health service to its member towns throughout its 25-year history. And this anniversary gives the town of Berlin an opportunity to recognize the Central Connecticut Health District, its board, directors, staff, and volunteers for their service in making our community safer and healthier, be it through tracking infectious disease outbreaks, providing mass vaccinations, preparing for and responding to natural disasters, or assuring safe food and drinking water. I encourage all citizens to join me in this celebration and in acknowledging the critical role the Central Connecticut Health District has played over the last 25 years in helping keep our communities to achieve and maintain good health. Dated today, signed by myself. Thank you on that. And we have a second proclamation. We just add that to the agenda.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to add to the agenda the proclamation for the LGBTQ Pride Month.
Thank you. So a proclamation hereby known to all that the town of Berlin hereby recognizes LGBTQ Pride Month. The town of Berlin recognizes that June is celebrated nationwide as the LGBTQ Pride Month, and that our great nation was founded on the principle of equal rights for all. As a community, Berlin is inclusive and strives for diversity. We welcome all people and believe everyone should be able to live without fear of prejudice, discrimination, violence, or hatred based on gender identity or sexual orientation. The town of Berlin is hereby proclaimed June 2021 as Pride Month to honor and celebrate our LGBTQ citizens. Let us as a community continue to build a culture of inclusiveness and acceptance for all. Dated today's date by myself, the town council. So, thank you. Okay, so with that, on to our consent agenda.
Mayor,
Yes.
were you gonna recognize
I'm
the Central Health District of here?
Oh, sure, yes, I'm sorry.
Can we just accept the
I'm sorry, yes,
proclamation?
and yes, I apologize for that, sorry about that.
Primary.
And
So Pat Checo is the chair, and Ray Jarema and myself are the representatives for Berlin, for you at the health district level. And their office has been moved to the Silestein Highway, so when anyone needs sewer and sanitary and things like that, then they go see Jack.
I'm
Well, go ahead, Pat, just.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to Berlin for being a good partner over the many years. And while I was here during those discussions, I was here as the opposition because I was the Director of Health of Bristol Burlington trying to get you to join us.
so it worked out.
So I think we have done well by you, and we've certainly done well by having you with us. We thank you for this. I think last year has been an experience none of us will ever forget, and we thank all of you. I think, as you know, and as the town manager knows, our Director of Health was everywhere at all times, 24 hours a day. Superintendents also called him 24 hours a day. And he met with you guys at least once a week. So it's been a trying time. It's certainly an experience none of us ever want to go through again. But I think it just shows how important it is to have a good health department, and we're pleased to have you in the district. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I think so.
Okay,
Mayor,
yes, yes,
I think perhaps the lady that.
that's what I was just going to say, if you want, I mean, yeah, all right. I didn't know.
Thanks.
Well, we can keep this, a town hall or put it somewhere
Sure, yeah,
downstairs, but. Sorry about that. It's not easy for us to get out of here either. It's almost hazardous getting out of here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, thank you all. Okay, so now it's on to our consent agenda. We have 3 items, accept now budget appropriation for the state Connecticut Youth Services grant in the amount of $189 for the deposit in the Child and Youth Services revenue account and appropriate those funds to the youth grant expenditure account. That's for youth services, except monetary donations totaling $305 for the Berlin Peck Memorial Library deposit, $305 into the Friends of the Library miscellaneous account, and move to accept the donation to the Knitted Shawl with an estimated value of $30 to be used as a summer reading prize, and move to accept the donation of material with an estimated value of $20 to be used for crafts. The third consent agenda is approve permission for consumption of alcoholic beverages, charge a fee for the Sage Park Pavilion for the Ektamadal and Patel family picnic for approximately 80 people of all ages on Sunday, July 4th, or the rain date of Monday, July 8th. And they're going to serve a meal there, and there will be insurance provided. So those are our three consent agenda items. I'll review them, had them ahead of time. We can take a vote.
Mayor, I'm sorry,
Yeah, I'm
I
sorry.
think that date's wrong.
Oh, the date on which one?
People, that
Could be the-
about the dogs, and then that Danielle who sent the price thing to Oroch to like.
You,
July 4th is, I think I would say it's supposed to be the.
rain date should be the
Yes,
5th.
yes.
Okay, so corrected here, corrected in our motion.
Yes.
Thank you, Kate. So we'll go ahead and take a motion on the consent agenda.
We'll make a motion to accept the three consent agenda items, with the correction in item number 3 for July 5th. It's the correct date.
All right, thank you. Second on that?
Second.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the council? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. Now we have just another brief public hearing, different stuff going on tonight. So I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Notice is hereby given that the town of Berlin will conduct a public hearing on Tuesday, June 15th at 7 p.m. to discuss the 2021 Connecticut Neighborhood Assistance Act tax credit program and to solicit citizen input. The meeting can also be accessed via Zoom. Please refer to the town website for more information regarding the link. Oroch, if you could just maybe give us a short briefing on this for the public.
Yeah, sure. So the Neighborhood Assistance Act tax credit program, we have come to the council each year, and it allows non-for-profits to apply for grants. And the program is paid for through tax credits by corporations. So this year, the Prudence Crandall Center submitted 2 proposals, and both of them, one has to do with the energy efficiency project. And then there's another one that had to do with the previous one.
Your annual appeal.
Yeah, it was in the agenda. I had to get that out.
It's for the annual appeal in the aiding of programs to serve low income people.
That's correct. So both these programs have been, application is in your packet. So the material submitted, it was even last time as well. And this time we are seeking approval or the comment at this point and approval later from the town council.
Okay. Thanks, Oroch. Yeah, we've done this before, and the Prudence Crandall Center has been recipient of these funds before. And so this is a public hearing, so anybody from the public have any comments on this? Now would be your time. Council members, anything? Good. Worthy cause, as we have in the past. So I will, before I close the public meeting, so all this information will be included in the minutes. So we'll have that on the record, and we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and we're gonna take a vote on it in a few minutes. That, and we'll go on to our new business. Agenda one, item one.
All right, the first item on the agenda is the appropriate $2,210,640 for fiscal year 2022 general fund unassigned fund balance to fund anticipated defined benefit pension payouts. Kevin Delaney, Finance Director, is available.
Hey, Kevin.
Good evening. This has become, I think, an annual exercise for us. As part of the budget process, the actuary, our independent actuaries determine the required pension contribution. During the budget process, the Board of Finance elected to fund within the adopted budget only that amount that is required to cover the monthly annuity payouts as well as fees, and ask that I return to request a non-budget appropriation when it becomes necessary. At the end of May, a long tenured police officer elected to retire. And with that retirement, when we make the final payment, we will only have $200,000 available in the defined benefit plan. We've had 4 different additional officers request their calculations. So no one has filed paperwork, but we wouldn't be able to fund any one of them. This request would appropriate the funds just to meet the actuarial determined contribution. It is possible, should 3 or more of those individuals who have asked for their numbers retire, that I will return to you later in the year. But at this point, this is just to request up to the actuarial determined contribution and continue funding our pay-as-you-go strategy. And I'll just comment one last thing, that with this most recent retirement, it leaves 7 active members in the plan. So since 2016, when we started with 17 members and began the active pay-as-you-go strategy, we've been able now to pay out 10 individuals. The liabilities are gone, and we are effectively executing the strategy.
Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, we've been dealing with this for a while. So this is what happens, folks, when a town over, don't blame anyone in particular, just over 20 years did not fund the pension program properly. And when they went to a 401k type program, I think probably 20 years ago, Kevin, right, or more.
Correct.
Some of the people that were left in it, in the defined benefit, in the pension side, had another option, which was to get a lump sum payment upon retirement. So obviously, if it was a annuity payment, it would be a little bit easier for the town to cover. But having nothing been put, there was many years that nothing was put into the pension fund, which is a not good fiscal policy. So once these remaining employees are paid out, we will have a much better balance sheet in our pension for 401k. So it's a little bit different now, a much better balance in all of our town finances. So just trying to clean this up from years of, again, not contributing, which is, move past that, which is a good thing for everyone. So any questions on this from anyone? Council? No. Okay, we'll go ahead and take a motion.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I move to appropriate $2,210,640 of fiscal year 22 general fund unassigned fund balance to the pension actuarial funding account within the general fund to fund anticipated DB pension payout pending approval of Board of Finance.
Second on that? Second. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Mike. So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. The second agenda item is the Neighborhood Assistance Act tax credit program, the one that we just had the hearing.
Yes. So we just had the explanation for this. So go ahead and take a motion.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I will move to affirm prior support proposals from the Prudence Crandall Center for the 2021 Connecticut Neighborhood Assistance Act tax credit program.
Second on that? Second. Any other comments or questions from the council? None? I'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 3.
Great, thank you. Agenda item number 3 is the approval of Eagle Scout project to improve cooking station and elements at Sage Park Pavilion. We have Ross here. Want to say something?
Hello, and thank you for having me today.
Thanks for being here.
So my name's Matthew Ross, and I'm Eagle Scout candidate in Troop 44 in Berlin. And I'm currently in 10th grade, and I'm looking to conduct an Eagle project at the Sage Park Pavilion. So my troop is one of many who use the pavilion, and I think it'll be really beneficial. So at the pavilion, I'm looking to build 3 tables and a brick structure. So the tables, there will be one 8-foot long table and 2 7-foot long tables, and they will both be 2 feet wide. And those will mainly be used for serving. And the brick structure will be a fire pit, and it'll be 2 fire pits. It'll be 11 feet long, 4 feet wide, and 2 feet tall. And that'll be used for cooking the food, and then the tables will be used for serving it. The estimated cost of the fire pit would be $2,500, and the estimated cost of the tables, all 3 of them together, would be, those 2 7-foot tables would be $325. And the 8-foot table would be $225. And I will be fundraising for all of this.
Great. Well, thank you, Matt. We always appreciate the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, a few other organizations always come forward with some great projects, and it's a great, community tool and teaching for our young people to give back to their community. And we certainly appreciate this project, as we have all of them. They've done some great stuff, bridges over, streams at Bicentennial. They rebuilt something at the Berlin Fair one year, just many, many different projects. So we appreciate it. Appreciate your effort and look forward to the new cooking area. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good luck.
So,
Thanks, Matt. It's going to be a great addition to Sage Park. Thanks so much for your help.
Agenda item number 4.
They got it
yeah,
closed.
we'll take a motion to approve.
Well,
I'll take a motion. I don't know, we're all in a hurry for some reason tonight. Maybe it's a nice day outside, it's not raining, I'm not sure.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the Eagle Scout project to improve cooking station and elements at Sage Park Pavilion by constructing brick cooking structure and 3 wooden tables.
Second on that?
I second that.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so moved. Thanks again, Matt.
Now we move to agenda item number 4. So it should have a revised
Yes.
agenda item. in
Yeah,
there.
we will revise one.
And this is to apply for a grant from the American Rescue Plan Act. Eric, it's kind of, acting director of the library is available to give you a brief background.
Yes, so the Berlin Peck Memorial Library would like to authorize to apply for a grant through the American Rescue Plan Act to help the Berlin community respond directly to the pandemic. The library has been allotted $18,002 through the grant. Every library in the state has received an allotment based on a formula for state aid grants. There are strict parameters which what can be purchased with this grant, and submitted kind of a first draft to the state library. They've come back with some suggestions, and our new director started yesterday, so I'm working with her on finalizing what we would like to purchase.
Great. Thank you. That's right, your new director started, right?
Yes, yesterday.
Ms. McNally?
She is at a library board meeting tonight.
Oh, okay. So I just, while we're talking about the library, I do have her, she starts, I guess she started yesterday, right? So just a little bit about Ms. McNally. She was at the other meeting, but she served, before she joined us, she served as the assistant library director at the Durham Public Library, branch manager of the Ground Community Library in Fort Vancouver Regional Library in Vancouver, Washington. She brings over 9 years of management experience to her Berlin Peck Library. A lot of different strengths, developing staff, coordinating community partnerships, providing education and outreach. She has expertise in implementing facilities plans, managing projects and budgets. And prior to her career with Life in the Library, she was marketing director in 2 commercial real estate companies. She has a bachelor's degree in creative writing from Florida State University and a master's in library and informational science from University of South Florida. And she currently serves as a trustee in the Connecticut Library Consortium Board. So just want to welcome her and thank Carrie for doing a great job as the acting director and before we Ms. McNally. So thank you for helping out. Appreciate it. And I'm sure being there for Ms. McNally to help her through her transition. So thanks a lot. Okay, so we have make a motion.
2 motions here. So first one, I move to approve the Berlin Peck Memorial Library applying for a grant through the American Rescue Plan Act to fund an outdoor extension of our library, which will allow digital inclusion, a safe pandemic response, implementation of public health protocols, and library services that meet the needs of our community. The total dollar amount of the grant is $18,002.
Any questions on this motion? It's great that we can take advantage of some of the money that we will be receiving from the American Rescue Plan Act. So it's great that our library can utilize it. So other questions or comments? Go ahead and take a vote on this. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Motion 2.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, motion number 2, I move to appropriate the $18,002 grant, if received, to the American Rescue Plan Act revenue account and the American Rescue Plan Act expense account and the special grants and donations fund.
Thank you. Second on that?
Second.
Any other comments or questions from the council? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so moved. Great,
Carrie.
thanks.
Agenda item number 5 is the Berlin blue collar contract. Denise Parsons available to give you a brief background.
Hey Denise.
Hi there, how's everybody tonight?
Apparently we're in a big hurry, so fuck fast, I don't know. I'm trying to slow it down.
So as it says in my agenda item, the agreement between the CILU expires at the end of this month. Back in January, we were notified that the union body had petitioned to change representation. They did have a vote in February, and their new union is the Connecticut Association of Labor Unions, otherwise known as CALU, and they are the new representatives. In March, the blue collar union president did approach the town asking if we would be interested in off-the-record conversations about a successor agreement. And when we do this, we save the fees associated with the attorneys through the negotiation process. So we were excited to go through that and avoid the cost of the Labor Council. I had several meetings with the blue collar union president. And then once we got to a final draft, I met with both Arosh and Kevin Delaney to talk through the financials. We have a contract that we believe is a fair and good for the town successor agreement. The highlights of the changes, we've added some language that would allow for modified work schedules for the blue collar staff. This isn't an automatic, they're gonna all be changing their work schedules, but what we learned through COVID is sometimes changing some of the ways we do business is beneficial. And the contract right now does prevent us from doing things like letting them work more than 8 hours in one day without overtime, or allowing them to skip their lunch break in order to modify the day. So this language will allow them to do those things with approval and recommendation by the department head. So we're just trying to get the contract prepared in case we want to move forward with any changes. We also adjusted the new hire vacation language, and in doing so, we're removing the accrual payouts. Right now, our staff, when they separate service, they get a lump sum of their bank of vacation time plus an accrual of what they've earned to date. And those accruals have been sizable. So we're trying to get rid of that. So we have changed the vacation so that people are granted vacation upon hire, and that would eliminate that payout at the other end. We've increased the meal allowance. They had a 5, 7, 10 breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We've made them all $10 just to try and keep up with the economic time so that they can actually afford to buy a breakfast with their meal allowance. We updated the seasonal employee language that was in the contract just to comply with statutory regulations. We added a 75-cent shift differential for employees who hold the Class A CDL that impacts 5 employees. And we've gone with a wage proposal with the standard 2 1/4 that we have been doing with the all of the unions in the last several years. We're looking for a 3-year successor agreement. We do believe this is in the best interest of the town.
All right, thank you, Denise,
You're welcome.
for that summary and negotiations. No, it's never easy,
Never easy.
but, all right. Appreciate our blue collar workers in Berlin here. They get a lot of the very tough work done around town, obviously. So take care of them as best we can. Questions for Denise, council? Mike, no? Okay. So with no questions or comments, we'll go ahead and take a motion.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the contract between the town of Berlin and the Connecticut Association of Labor Unions, number 52, the blue collar employees, for the period of July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2024.
Thank you. Second on that? Okay. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Denise.
Thank you, Denise.
See you, Denise.
Agenda item number 6 is a reevaluation for bid award. This is something that we are required to do every 5 years. Last it was completed in 2017. So Ferraro Assessor is here to give you some background and
Joe, what are we doing?
Good, thanks. I did a spreadsheet for the bids that came in. 3 of them came in. And what I did different this time around was I put in to the RFP the proposal that pre-trials would be part of the contract. Last time we did that, they weren't. And a pre-trial typically takes effect from litigation. You go to a pre-trial and you try to resolve issues, and then if it doesn't get resolved, then you end up having a trial. To date, we've spent approximately $48,000 to date on pre-trials, and we're still not done. I'm projecting probably about $55,000 when it's all said and done. Out of the 3 bids, one of them was the high bid I didn't look at because it was $100,000 higher than the mid bid. And the low bid actually did not comply with the RFP. They didn't put in for pre-trial support. So I looked at who complied with the RFP, and that was the middle bid of $189. That's where we stand right now. Another thing to keep in mind when we go to pre-trials, an MAI is a designation in the appraisal field. The courts recognize this designation. And the middle company actually has 3 MAIs. 2 of them are, 3 of them are all partners in the company. So when you're looking at qualifications and you're looking at complying with the bid, they actually meet every which way possible.
Okay, great, thanks, Joe. Questions for Joe?
I just wanted to point out the reason why we're doing this. We have to do it every 5 years.
Every 5 years. The next one is 2022. And then the next one after that is 5 years after that, 2027. And that one will probably be a full physical revaluation, and that will probably be about $400,000.
Yeah, nice, but that's off a ways.
Yes.
Yeah, it's always a fun time. You
Yes.
have fun with it, don't you?
Yeah, well, it's a lovely time.
Yes. Difficult job, but we've got to do it, obviously, so, okay, any other questions for Joe? That's it? Okay, thanks, we'll go ahead and, take a motion.
I will move to award the contract for 2022 property reevaluation to lowest qualified bidder, Municipal Valuation Services LLC, for a total cost of $189,900.
Thank you. Second on that? Second. Any other comments or questions from the council? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 7 is the authorization of the town manager to submit Connecticut Department of Housing, Affordable Housing Plan Technical Assistance Grant application. Mr. Mahoney is available on the Zoom call. I see him. Give us a little background.
Yes, the state legislature now requires that each town prepare an affordable housing plan by June of 2022. And they're offering this grant to help cover the costs. It's competitive, but first come, first serve. So we want to get in there early, $15,000. And we actually we're starting the update of the Plan of Conservation and Development. And we have issued an RFQ. We actually have interviewed consultants, but what we're doing is we're combining the POCD update with the affordable housing plan, because I think it's going to be more efficient to do it that way. Have one consultant, one process, they're related subjects. So that's the game plan. And this item is just to authorize the town manager to request the grant.
Okay. Thanks, Jim. Is this a new, the affordable housing plan, would you say, a new requirement?
New requirement.
Based upon the new statute? Or is that before then? Is there something?
Yeah, it's I think it's a couple of years old. I'm not exactly sure, but yes, it's a new statute that was passed a couple of years ago.
Questions, Jim? None. The good thing is that Berlin is very, been very forward thinking with affordable housing, and I don't know what changed in the current. There's some other statute they just passed had to do with planning and zoning, but that's new. But there was the current state statute is what 10% of our housing should be affordable. I think we're about 9.3%, and we have quite a few units in the next hopefully year or two that will be coming online that will be affordable. So we should reach that 10% under the current law. I don't know if the other one changed it. Did it change?
No, as long as it's at least that 10%.
It's the 10%. So yeah, okay, they may move it up, but under current statutes. Right, for years, we've had this statute and we strive to get there. And I think we're one of the few communities that suburban towns that has almost reached it. And that speaks volumes for our community to try and have some affordable housing for people that, can move in and enjoy Berlin. So, all right, so if there's no other questions, we'll go ahead and take a motion on this.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I move to authorize the town manager to sign a grant application to administer Connecticut Department of Housing Affordable Housing Plan Technical Assistant Grant in the amount of up to $15,000.
Second on that? Second. Any other comments or questions?
Thanks, Jim, for keeping an eye out for this type of stuff. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Yes, Jim has always got his eye out for
You have
grants. Yes,
Absolutely.
appreciate that. That's part of his
It's a project.
job, but it is a project, right? It's not easy. Jim, we know that, but we appreciate many, many grants you have brought to town with your hard work. So here's another one to the list, which is great. Any other comments for anyone? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, so moved.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 8, to purchase one Dodge Charger from Generous CJD LLC of East Hartford, Connecticut, utilizing state Connecticut Department of Administrative Services contract. Jim Simons.
Good evening.
Hi, Jim. Hey, Jim.
Hi there, how was everybody? Enjoying the summer?
Good, yeah, so far.
Till tonight. So we had a police cruiser, an unmarked car that got in an accident at Mill Street and Main Street in East Berlin. That was a 2009 vehicle, but after we evaluated it, and the insurance company evaluated it, it was deemed to be totaled. And we are replacing that with a Dodge Charger, which is a few $1,000s cheaper than what we would normally buy. And also will hopefully give our police department a different look while they're out doing their job.
Yeah, because right, normally we've been going SUVs, right?
Yeah, we usually stay with Ford, and we usually stay with SUVs, and they kind of look like police cars all over the place. So, so the unmarked car, hopefully it doesn't look like a police car.
Yeah, no, that's great. Mix it up a little. So
Yeah.
good.
No.
Yes.
Jim, any reason why we're getting a Charger? Is it the price?
No, when we sat down, we looked at what we were going to do, whether we were going to replace it with another SUV, or we were going to replace it with a Chevy or a Dodge, and what's out there. The Dodge seemed to be the better car, the cheaper car. I won't say the better car, but it appeared that would meet our needs the best. So it's a Dodge. It doesn't have a Hemi in it. It's got a V6. So it's not going to see the track anytime soon, but it should work out pretty good for them.
Thanks, Jim. No fun without the Hemi, come on.
Yeah, I know.
But it's a Mopar. It's okay.
I don't know about that, but
That officer didn't get hurt, right? Did he get hurt?
our officer was transported to the hospital afterwards, but I do not believe he was injured. I think it was all precautionary.
That's good to hear.
Hey, Jim, generally, how much does it cost to outfit these vehicles?
Well, that depends on which type of vehicle it is. This vehicle being an undercover vehicle, it's a lot cheaper than if it was a marked patrol car. So what we have is installation of the radios and installation of warning devices, a siren and light system in there. And then it depends on the vehicle. This one will probably come in somewhere around $5,000 to outfit. If it was a marked patrol vehicle, that could be anywhere over $12,000. They're quite costly.
Thanks.
Well, hopefully we can put this new vehicle to use to help us with the car theft problem in Berlin lately, unfortunately, and all around the communities, right? We've been seeing that. Article today, right? Glastonbury had a situation, right, the other night with several vehicles that were stolen, and then the occupants that stole it, I guess, crashed one, got out, ran through the woods, and ordered up a Uber to come pick them up where the police could catch them, and then they stole the Uber guy's car. So, and then I think they crashed that. I think they finally did get caught, right, from what I read, but unfortunately, that's, just been latest, thing that organized criminal groups, they do appear to be unfortunately organized and using juveniles because the laws are a little bit not as strict for juveniles at the moment. So, that's terrible that, you know, people running those organizations take advantage of that, unfortunately, but we're all kind of facing that, and it's very difficult, you know, to catch that. It's very random. But they are driving around town. I just, someone that I know, their neighbor, he saw at their neighbor's house just, I think it was yesterday, over on the, off of Orchard Road somewhere. Garage door was open. The other thing you guys have to realize, keep your garage doors closed. This is during the day at 5 o'clock. Car back into the driveway. Somebody got out with a hoodie on and a mask and went into the garage trying to get the car open, and they couldn't open the car, so they didn't break in. So they kind of ran out. The neighbor who saw it called the other neighbor, but thank God they didn't do anything. But this is 5 in the afternoon, so in, you know, more rural part of town. So they're everywhere. They're in every town. We coordinate a lot of our enforcement actions, right, with all the towns, surrounding towns, and do the best we can. So maybe this will help sit somewhere where they don't notice it as much, and we could, you know, help our residents out a little bit better. Okay, any other questions for Jim? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and take a motion.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I move to authorize the purchase of one Dodge Charger from Chambers CJD LLC of East Hartford, Connecticut, for an amount not to exceed $27,400.80, utilizing the state of Connecticut TAS contract number 19 PSX 0161.
Second on that?
Second.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Jim.
Jim.
Thank you.
Good, Jim.
Bye now.
And item number 9 is a bid waiver for GIS annual maintenance contract. Mike Hines.
Good evening.
Hey, Mike.
This is my annual request for New England Geosystems to continue to maintain our geographic information systems, known as the GIS system, which is that nice map you want to find out where your neighbors, you know, what their taxes are, or who owns what, where the parcel boundaries are, where the wetlands are, that type of thing. So they they gave me a little bit of a stat update. In the last year, we've had 12,000 users in 29,000 sessions, which is pretty impressive. So there's a lot of people using this. Their budget is $30,000. $6,000 of that is just for hosting and maintaining both the public and our staff websites. And they also will be doing a lot of work for the POCD, the CHIP, and planning and zoning. They're actually working on stuff right now. So the remainder of that fee is for task assignments and also for the parcel updates from Joe, as far as boundary, ownership, and also some other mapping assignments. So $30,000 and we have this funded in our GIS programming account, and we're just asking to get this bid waiver for this year so we can go through the next year and have them maintain and host our public sites.
Okay, great. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I know we've been had information on this before, so we're familiar with it. Any questions for Mike? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and take a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move to waive the bidding procedure and award a contract for GIS annual maintenance and departmental services to New England Geosystems of Middletown, Connecticut, for an amount not to exceed $30,000, as this is in the best interest of the town.
Second on that?
I second.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Council? Hearing none? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Okay, on to appointments. I guess we have one, right? All right, so we'll go ahead and take a nomination. Open the
Mr.
nomination.
Mayor, for the Public Building Commission, I'll nominate Rocco Lucieri. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. PBC.
Okay, thanks for that nomination. And any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and close the nominations and take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so moved. Welcome to Public Building Commission. Another volunteer steps forward. That's great. All right. Town manager. Oh, right, yeah, town manager.
So the first item that I have is a request from Ms. Cosetti to fly the LGBTQ flag, the pride flag in front of Town Hall for the last week of June. And I'm bringing it to the council for your consideration.
We don't have any, I don't think we have any written policy now, right, on this?
You know,
Shame on us, but work on that. What do we think?
I would love to. Absolutely love to. I had reached out to Arosha last year about flying a pride flag during Pride Month, so I completely support that. I'd love to see it up all month, quite frankly. But I certainly support flying it the last week.
We have two flagpoles out there, one with the state of Connecticut, one with the United States flag, covers all our citizens. All of them are included. And to take one group and separate them, I think it's a negative for them, to point at someone and say they're special. I think all our citizens are covered by our flags, protected by the constitutions that those flags represent. And government flag, both should be for government flags.
Okay, what else? It is an issue, I mean, you know, been asked before for different flags besides the pride flag. We don't have a policy. Typically, to kind of keep precedent what we have done, you know, to recognize different members of the community, different groups, is do proclamations from the council. That's kind of been what we've done, been the tradition here as far as I've been here. I don't know of any other flags that we have raised over town buildings. What I fear is certainly changing the precedent, because people have certainly asked in the past for different type flags. And I fear what we do for one, we are going to have to do for all, which would be the only fair way. And Lord knows how many flags people would want us to fly for different reasons, different groups.
Mark, if I may ask, what other flags have we been asked to fly?
Was asked a couple years ago for the Tea Party flag, the Don't Tread on Me flag. That was just kind of off the record, but I said,
Yeah, but
we
that's
don't do that. What's that?
It's a political faction.
Yes, but once we open the floodgates, how do we say no? And we couldn't say no. I understand with the current case law. So the law on this issue says that flagpoles or town property, will go ahead and promulgate a policy going forward, because we should have had one by now. Shame on us for not having one in the town. Is that typically flagpoles are reserved for government speech, which is the American flag, state flag, some service flags, town flag. It's not a public forum. And then some towns have policies with different flags. Some towns have gotten in trouble with their policies because they favored certain flags over other flags. Who's to say what's political and what's not today? Very tough to make that distinction, depending on what flag someone wants to fly. So I just, without a policy, I would be hesitant to do it, because that has not been our precedent to do. Hence the proclamations for different groups, be it Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, just many organizations we try and recognize with the proclamation from the town council on the record in our meeting. So I would certainly rather wait and see if we can come up with some policy before we grant one, and then open some door that we may not want to go down that road, unfortunately. It just happens to be this particular flag, but it could be anyone, it could be any flag for any organization.
But it's not an organization.
No, I understand what it is. It's a movement. I understand that too, Joanne, but it could be,
Or an organization, they're people. And with all due respect, Charlie, yes, the American flag is about everyone, but unfortunately, there are those that are marginalized.
Many people are marginalized. Many people are discriminated
That's
against
absolutely
for
right.
many different reasons. And we can't all have a flag that represents governor's office.
They're asking
On our
for last
own-
week.
On our own property, our own places of business.
It's a
I encourage people.
specific month, and they're asking to fly for 1 week.
Am I allowed to ask a question?
Sure.
Is there another flagpole in town that doesn't fly over a town building, like the one in front of, like across from Walgreens, or like, is there another
Still
flagpole?
it's still town property. I mean, I'm not sure because we don't have a statute, so, you know, or an ordinance, so it's kind of flying by precedent, what we've done, you know, for now. And, you know, I mean, you know, I guess you can exempt one, maybe we could do that down the road, but again, I guess my biggest concern is that we exempt, let's say we pick any location, the town property anywhere in town. Once one goes up, I don't know how I would turn down any other one, quite frankly. I mean, you know, depending, whatever it might be. That's why it's a difficult issue.
Am I allowed to make a comment?
Yeah, sure.
I don't want to dominate you.
It really should be coming up, but yeah, you know what, you can announce from there, it's fine, because we can record it, just say your name again, I know where you're heard.
That's okay, you
Yeah.
guys can go first.
Yeah.
Steve Lanook, 46 Thompson Road in Berlin. How you doing? I thought I'd seen POW MIA flags up.
That would be, the service flags would be kind of covered under that, Marine Corps, Army, Armed Forces.
Those are all
And
covered.
those are typically on the war memorials. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that would be the only one, I think, that, you're right, that probably has been up there. I don't know about town hall, though, I don't know if it's been on town hall or town property. That I don't know, which is why we need to do some more research.
Yeah.
You know, without an ordinance, we're kind of flying, you know, in the dark, but.
I guess I'm a little disappointed as someone who was in New York City in 1972 at one of the very first gay liberation marches, as it was called.
Yeah.
This is 50 years later, and I'm frankly shocked that this is not just because when we say the Pledge of Allegiance, we talk about people with liberty and justice for all. That's what the pride flag represents, liberty and justice. And it's for all people. And I appreciate what you're saying about the US flag. I totally.
Please don't misunderstand me. I encourage people to fly the flag, whatever their idea is, and speak out on their own property, on their own businesses, their own cars. But the town hall, the government building shouldn't pick winners and losers. Everyone has to be 100%.
It's not about winners and losers, it's about inclusivity.
I've been overweight all my life. I've been discriminated against because of
That is not.
So what's gonna be next? We're gonna have the fat guy flag next month? I mean, let's make sense. Let's treat everyone equal, and the government has to maintain it.
Yes, sir.
So as far as,
Name.
I'm sorry, Mark Del Valle.
Hi, Mark.
As far as precedent goes, I know we don't have any in town because I assume this same argument maybe had been or would have been used. I don't know if they've been brought,
Yeah.
but we could look to other towns. I know neighboring town or, well, I've got another neighboring towns that I know or nearby towns who have done this. You know, I think Middletown and I think I drove by Merritt. Neighboring towns, I haven't done the legwork to see exactly which towns, but I know that there have been neighboring towns who have done, many towns neighboring who have done the same thing. And also, literally the White House, 2015, June 26th, when gay marriage was legalized, literally the White House was adorned in the colors of the pride flag. Like, there's precedence for doing this in places that are not Berlin. Berlin has just not done it.
Oh, agreed. I mean, I don't disagree with that statement. I just would like to get an ordinance. Maybe we pick a spot, you know, and that would be the spot. Would you come to that agreement? So I'm just hesitant to open the door before we have any kind of guidance for people, because I think you came in and said, you know, right, did the right thing, kind of came and said, how do I do this?
I
And do
presumed
it.
there was gonna be a form and I filled it
Yeah,
out. and I
right,
said
right.
yes, like-
And actually, Roche and I said, do we have a form? Do we have something? And, you know, sadly, we don't. So sorry about that, you know, I mean,
Well, one last comment, if it's okay. Danielle Morrissey Corsetti, 75 Cottage Street. You said that this isn't specific about pride and it's not, you know, about this in particular, but I'm afraid that it's going to look like it's about this in particular. And
Yeah.
it's going to look like a decline
no.
a refusal to be accepting and welcoming, so.
Well, hence the proclamation tonight. Those are our words and
Yeah.
those are what we mean in Berlin, and that'll be posted at town hall, and that's.
It's
in our
not quite as
public meeting.
visual.
No, I understand that, and let's face it, today's social media will make of it what they're gonna make of it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's with anything we do, any decision we make. Tomorrow, there'll be some people yelling at buying a police car, so I mean, just, that's what we deal with. Not to compare them, but I mean, that's just how it is, so
I hope we can make progress moving forward.
yeah, if we could get, some policy and maybe a location that we can do it for different flags and just figure out how we have to describe them somehow really, otherwise we could let somebody, I suppose, in and fly, I don't know, the communist flag, let's say, without any guidance in our ordinance. I mean, I'm not sure how I would say no to that too. Well, that's what they believe in, and I mean, that's not inclusive, but it's not the same thing, I understand.
It's a group.
Well, that's your definition though.
No, it's not mine.
No, but that's the definition of the pride flag. That's great, but there's 20,000 people in town that have different thoughts on things, good and bad, I'm sure. And that's why it's better for us to have the same policy and or ordinance in place and maybe a location with some, we'll do a lot of homework and some definitions on what flags we can fly. That would be much safer as a town than to open the door and not have any guidance. That's what I'm.
Disappointing. It's disappointing and it's exclusive.
Yeah, well, again, that's the proclamation is obviously we've proclaimed how we feel about it, right? As the town council, and I'm sure most of the town, residents feel the same way, and that's why we do things like that to recognize that movement. But again, we just need policy, because I know what will happen. I think we know what will happen, and it'll be tough to say no to much without any kind of policy we could point to. Because who's to say what some other flag represents? The different people have different thoughts too on different flags, right? So it's very hard to weed through it all. So I prefer, yes, Mark.
That's a quick question. So is there, and I'm sorry if I'm interrupting and you were about to
No,
answer
go
this,
ahead.
but
Go ahead.
is there a plan to create such a
Yes. Yes.
policy?
Yeah, we'll have our town attorney do some research. Different towns have, I'm sure, policies and ordinances. As you mentioned, some may not have any, we gotta do some research. I mean, we really do that with anything that comes our way like this, I know this is that particular flag and that particular issue, but different issues come up like this all the time, and we gotta have something to point to so everyone gets treated fairly when they, fill out that application or whatever they're asking for from the town. This happens to be what this is tonight, but it's across the board that way, But with us just making some, really it is a judgment call. We have to make, okay, yeah, that's great. We agree with you, put it up, but next flag that comes in the door, maybe none of us agree with, but what do I say, no? That's just like a judgment call on, let's say, the council's part, which is great, but that's what leads to lawsuits and different problems. So if we have some type of definition that, we think is fair to most flags, we might accept that, we don't open the door to everything. It's just much better. Sorry, I'm a lawyer too, so that I like to have those things written down, and it's safer, I think, for all of us.
It's just tough. You're saying you can't say no, but you're saying no at the same
Yeah,
time.
well, no, I mean, we're gonna, put some policy in place, because I think Roche, and I were like, we said, okay, is there an application? And we had nothing, we don't have anything, so.
Well, I appreciate you coming out and talking. It's not easy to do. But sometimes there's compromises. And, one of the things I thought about was, the town hall is kind of off the beaten path. And you mentioned over by Walgreens, that's called volunteer park. You have a gazebo, you have a sign, you've got a light, you've got a flagpole. Maybe that's the place for the community. It's more visible, right? Maybe that's the place we put into our ordinance or policy, whatever we call it. That was my thoughts, because some of the things that I've heard about over the last week, sneaking out in the middle of the night and defacing monuments for people was probably the wrong way to go about this conversation. And I don't know who did that, but that was wrong.
Yeah,
And
it's
I-
a little ironic because I called the town hall and then maybe an hour later got on Facebook and I was like, oh my gosh, like I really didn't know anything about what was happening over there first.
Several times. not just
Many
once.
many
I heard
times
4
actually.
times,
It
look at
it
Facebook.
really upset the veterans
That's a
quite a
veterans
bit.
monument. It's no
Right,
business.
But not,
believe me,
no,
I was
no,
not
no,
related.
no,
Of course.
you went about it the right way. You called town hall and said, hey, how do we get this up? Yeah, so, and that's, we
And we
appreciate it.
certainly appreciate that, and we are definitely gonna take a look at what we can do moving forward.
I want to thank you for coming tonight. I really do, and I'm not against anybody. Don't take me the wrong way. And this is the beginning, it's not the end. You've done a great thing, and you're pointing out we need to look at this, so thank you.
And my barn flies an Italian flag, just an FYI. The front yard has the American flag, but the backyard has my Italian flag.
Why is that?
Why not? It's my property, right? I'm Italian.
Should be in the front.
I know, okay, yes, sir.
I only have one pole in the front.
So can we expect that by next year? Policy
Oh,
will
yeah.
be in place
Yes.
and then this request came up again?
Yes,
Sure.
yes.
I think
Yes.
that's fair.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, it should, my God, I hope it just take a whole year, although the government deals with it by next year.
I mean, the next time this particular.
Yes, I
I've
know.
been working on the leash law for 8 years.
Yeah. Still working on a
No,
lot of
wait
it.
years.
No, I just think we need to do what we kind of the right thing for the town, for the benefit of the town government. So again, yeah, we certainly appreciate you coming out and, we'll work on that and get something in place. So there will be a process. People won't have to sneak up in the middle of the night, try and put it up somewhere where it shouldn't be. And if we find that right spot for everyone, then that probably makes the most sense. Brendan, we find a spot. Yeah.
And just one last thought, in terms of social media, I like to be very positive. I imagine posting like, the town council agreed to move forward to find a policy, like we're gonna work on this moving forward. I took a picture of the proclamation, like posting that, like,
Sure.
I want Berlin to be proud of ourselves. Like I
Of course.
want to put us in a good light. I want people to be excited for what's coming next, not super cranky. And
Yes.
I mean, like you're saying, people will have their opinions, that's
Right.
fine, but I
A lot of people are
wanted
super
to-
cranky these days about a lot of things, not just in
I
this
wanted to let
issue.
you know that I will post in a positive light.
I wouldn't think you would. We thank you for that, but you're here and you're doing it the right way, I guess, if there is a right way, so we certainly appreciate that. And we will move on this and we'll get something in place, so it'll be easier and, written down so people can read it and come forward and ask for different things. Yes,
Yeah, I was gonna add, Council Spencer, last year you had requested us to do something, explore, we call all the neighboring towns and around us, and their response was, the government did not put any flags out on their property, but they encouraged private citizens and groups to display the white flag and the colors. So I'm not saying that it's right or wrong,
No.
that's what they decided to do on streets and et cetera, on private property.
Might be an interesting review. I certainly know, I could probably name 15 towns that have flown it over town hall with a ceremony. Bloomfield, South Windsor, Manchester,
Did
Middletown.
around here.
Yeah, I don't know
Cross
specifically
bordering,
close by bordering, but I'd like to think that.
I mean, certainly,
Direction.
certainly would encourage stuff, but, residences, businesses, if people are so inclined and wherever, to do it certainly, but. So we'll task Mr. D'Onofrio, if we don't give him enough work, our town attorney, to look at some of the language, look at the different towns and bring that to, I don't know, either a policy or I guess maybe an ordinance might be the way to go, or policy. I don't know. On the ordinance committee. Come to the ordinance committee would be like the process. He'll give us some direction. We'll have an ordinance committee separate meeting, a few of the council members, figure out what it's gonna be, and then we bring it back to the full council and can take a vote and put that in place. So it'll take a little while, but not a whole year.
Thank you.
I know the dog park, the unleashed people will say, no, not true, but that's proven to be a little bit more difficult issue, I think, than this one will be. So, we appreciate that. So thank you. We appreciate you coming here and talking to us, because that's what, I think all of us up here, I always say to the people of Berlin, we want to hear, we represent you, right? You voted us here to run the town in the best interest of everyone in Berlin, so we try and do the best we can. So thank you. So we'll do that. We'll get that started. Jeff can start doing some research for us, and then we'll, at our upcoming ordinance committee, we'll start looking at that.
The ordinance committee meetings are public.
And they're public,
Oh,
too.
great.
They're public too, yeah, of course.
The ideas too.
Well, yeah, if you have thoughts, if you have any information, we've got some from our, regarding the leash law from many people that have, different sides of the issue. Same with you, if you have any that you wanna have us look at, you find an ordinance that looks good, send it to us as well, to the town manager, we'll look at that. Because it's always hard gathering all that information, right? That's the hard part, and then kind of sifting through it all, so. Yeah, whatever you wanna send to us, we're happy to look at it and figure it out. All right, thank you very much. Okay,
I'm gonna keep going.
yes,
All right, a couple of other.
yeah, more? Wait a minute, come on.
It's only,
Good night, Matt. Good night.
late night.
I know it's only 10 after 8, we're still early.
Yeah.
So you can talk for another couple hours if you want.
I do that.
No,
So just want to, you already know about this, the American Rescue Plan Act. Towns are receiving money from the US Treasury. So we have two allocations, one from what is called a county allocation, which is about $3.9 million, and the town allocation is to be over $2 million, total about $6 million. First half, we should be getting anytime, maybe it's already in the bank. And the second half will be in 2022. So the US Treasury released a 150-page document that outlines the parameters and how these funds could be utilized. What I propose that we do in September, that to have a joint meeting of the council and board of finance, and Kevin and I can sort of condense the 150 pages to and outline the parameters and how these funds could be spent, what the timeline is, the do's and don'ts, and then have a discussion after that about how we might want to approach it. Because it's a lot, but we have time till 2026 to spend it.
wow,
So there's,
it is a long time.
but let's get started in September, at least to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that sounds good.
Some updates with the senior center that's opening soon after the 4th of July weekend. You probably know they've been having, different teams, bingo every Thursday in the parking lot, outdoor events, every month. There's Blacktop Santa that they do. There's a trivia contest, walking club, book club, repotting house plans. There's also, they've been doing a lot of drive-throughs. There's one more drive-through, Father's Day, Donuts for Dads. So there's been fairly good participation. And currently, since everybody's outdoors, haven't been too much of a demand to get in, but we want to try and open in a couple of weeks so that we get all the seniors in and get different groups to come in and do it safely. Since most of them are, pretty much all of them are vaccinated.
We have a meeting next, the public meeting, right? It's next week for the.
Yeah, this is the Senior Center Community Center.
Yeah, that's next.
So that one is scheduled for June 22nd and June 30th.
Yeah.
At the auditorium of the Berlin High School. But one of the seniors had requested, because of the accessibility, you can walk in.
Yeah, no, it's tough
In the
there.
elevator, whether we could have one
At the senior.
senior center, and we'll do it. So we're trying to coordinate with the applicant.
Yeah.
Perhaps sometime early July, we'll schedule the third meeting for the senior center community center, so that those who, more people can participate and join and provide input to the project. They're doing these other one-on-one services, blood pressure screening and virtual programs, but I think people are wanting to get together now in person, so I think we can do it safely. Parks and Rec, good news, both summer camps will be starting soon, June 22nd. And then both pools will be open. And the Department of Health also removed all the restrictions, so we don't have to have the restrictions we had last year. So both pools will be open and people will be able to enjoy it. We do want to, we have an ordinance committee meeting scheduled for the 24th about the leash ordinance. Anything else you might want to do, so that'll be coming up. I'll give the agenda and the materials out.
Yeah, I got some good stuff sent to me on some other parks, which I think I forwarded to you. Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Maybe to you could send it to Jen or
Jennifer, okay.
Downstate. It might be worth looking at.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because it's different information, different towns, how they're doing it. So
Yeah, if you can get it to me.
yeah, I'll send it to you tomorrow.
Right. And then in terms of the Timberland, we had the joint meeting of the commission and the council. And the next step is they're working on a statement of need as discussed. And once we have it, we'll discuss where we want to go with it.
Also be an updated statement of need.
Yeah, right. And I think we can also start, with all the experts who came and spoke with us, probably start to carve out some ways that we can increase margins. There are ways you can do it. Probably want to put an agenda item together and go through it. Might be able to do a lot of the work ourselves and get some guidance and benchmarking information from the Connecticut PGA. But they are willing to help. Information is out there. You had questioned about the Kensington Fire Department. There's a request for the parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, I put in touch with Public Works and, this is not, they wanted to hear, they had not gone through the appropriate permitting process with the inland wetland. We need to go through that, so wants to get that done. So they're going through the process and Jim Hobel and Mike, they're helping them out.
Oh, good.
Good, that's good to hear, so they're working.
So at least they
Thank you.
had the right approvals before. I didn't even know this. So for example, even Waters Pass and Christian Lane, Living Road, that project, it touches wetland. We have to still go through the permitting process, even though it's an existing road. So that's what the statute says. So we're going to do that. You all had a handout that I sent Kim McNally, library director. Thanks for reading it out.
Yeah.
Started on Monday, brings out of great ideas, energy, enthusiasm, and thrilled to have a town feel good. It'll be fantastic. The next one is I want to probably try and schedule after the next meeting, town manager review.
The town manager review, it's that time already again, huh? Oh, yeah.
Sharpen the pencil.
Yeah, all right. Sure.
What I'll do is I'll give you the forms we created. Take it with you so that you have time to mark it out.
Good.
Lots of pens.
Yeah. Okay, that wraps it up.
That wraps it up. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Anyone want to go further? No rush, just kidding. Council communications, what do we have? Anyone? I'm sure time. No? Said it all already, I guess. Probably a good thing. Okay, so we are on to our just acceptance of our last minutes. June 1st, 2021. If everyone has reviewed them, we'll go ahead and take a motion.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to accept the meeting minutes from June 1st, 2021.
Second?
Second.
Thank Any other comments or questions from the council? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Joanne, okay, so any opposed? Okay, we're all set to pass that. And motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Want to stay longer? Yeah, no? All right, so moved. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Kate. Thank you,
Take care,
Josh.
guys.
Have a good night, folks.
Thank you, Arosh.
Bye, Kate.
Good night. Always good to see you, Jack.
Homework.
Can I read this after my 800-page bill they want to show through tomorrow?